Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to wait another minute or so to let everyone get connected and ready to roll, but um, thanks for joining us and we'll get started soon. Okay, again, thanks for joining us for today's webinar, Implement a Successful Sales System, Leverage AI for Seller Efficiency. My name is Mackenzie Laut, and I'm on the marketing team here at Velosio. I wanted to welcome you and kick off today's event with a few housekeeping items. First of all, everyone is currently muted, but we do want this to be as interactive as possible. So go ahead and enter any questions that you have in the question pane, and I'll pass them over to our presenters at the end of the presentation. This session is also being recorded, and you'll receive a copy of the recording along with other resources following today's event. Thanks again for joining us, and with that, I'll pass it over to our presenters, Bill and Jackie.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm Jackie Simmons. I'm one of the CE consulting managers at Velosio. I'm really focusing in on the sales module and making sure that teams use it effectively. With me, we have Bill as well. Bill, I'll let you give a quick intro before I dive into the slides.
Great, thanks, Jackie. Hi, everyone. My name is Bill Kinahan. I'm a solution engineer with the team here at Velosio. My primary role is to do presentations like this, do demonstrations of Dynamics. So thanks for coming.
Awesome. And don't worry, Bill will have the exciting part of the presentation. I only have a few slides here up front. But really, let's just kind of dive into it. If you're here, you probably have a CRM system that might not be well used or is failing in some way. And that's sadly kind of common. So it happens to about a third of all organizations. They put the CRM system in place and it isn't heavily adopted or used by their users. And that's even with all of the evidence that we have that says, you know, if you use a CRM system, your win ratio and all of that really great things increase. So, you know, that's kind of a disconnect, right? Like this is proven that if you use CRM, your sales go up, but a lot of those tools are not being used. So why is it that sellers are kind of averse to using CRM tools and platforms? Well, I like to think about it through the lens of that seller persona. They really want to make sure that they're creating raving fans, they have great customer references, great customers in general, they're closing deals, and they're hitting their numbers, right? Really quota and commission driven. And so that means they're going to actively avoid anything that takes them away from achieving their goals. Anything that's busy work, admin tasks, things that are time sucks for them, they're going to want to avoid those. And you know, conversely, they're going to gravitate towards anything that moves the deal forward. You know, selling is a very relational type work environment, so they're going to interact with people and things that help them do more with less and win more deals. So with that context, you know, time is the most precious thing to a seller. It's really what helps them get more out of their day. So how can we increase efficiency with engagement? How can we give them tools and proposals at their fingertips, make things really easy for them, and give them something more than the time that they're putting in? So, you know, trying to think through that a little bit cleaner here. If we're asking them to put something into a CRM and take time away from them, we better be giving back to them in dividends and much more value for their time. So really putting the seller at the middle of everything that we do at Velosio, that's really key. So that's how we approach all of these projects and some of the things that Bill's going to show in a second here. We really can organize it into design principles and process principles. I'll actually start with the process ones. So when we're doing a dynamic sales implementation, we want to make sure that we hear from the sellers, learn from them. What do they love about their tools? What do they hate, more importantly? and really include them in the conversation and make sure that they have ownership and, the champions and your top sellers have that sense of ownership over the tool. And then, of course, we'd want to measure it and make sure that we're moving the needle. From a design perspective, we want to make sure that we're using things like generative AI, making sure that the user experience is really crisp, giving them the information that they need right front and center. If they care about quota and getting commission, show them that information. Show them that every step that they take moves the needle closer to that. And reporting should really just be a byproduct. I know all of the senior leaders that would listen to this webinar or attend today, they're like, hey, reporting is the most important thing. Well, if you do a correct deployment, it's going to be a vast output that you have rather than like trying to grab it from people day in and day out. So that's what we do. We want to make sure that the sellers are right at the middle of everything that we do so that you end up getting a really rich reporting as a byproduct. So how does generative AI kind of drive seller adoption? This is the latest and greatest thing. I'm sure you're hearing about it all over the place. It's all over the news, all of those things. But really, it's about saving time. It's the most important asset to a seller, their time. So how do we give them more time in their day? Well, we, create draft email content, draft proposals, draft everything that you can. There's someone in my life who told me way back when that people are better editors than authors. Let's let them be editors. Let's serve them up a starting point and let them make the tweaks to help win the deal. So all of those features, what's amazing is that Microsoft is investing in those like crazy. And so today, Bill's going to show some of the features that are already available today out of the box. There's a whole list of things that are coming down the pipe, but I'll just kind of double click on this. Microsoft is investing a ton of resources and energy into this topic to give people more time to do the things that are extremely valuable and what actually win deals. So in a few seconds here, Bill's going to share his screen, go through dynamics. We're going to show basically the day in the life of a seller. How can using these tools make things go really quick and smooth? And that's really about it. Let's do a quick screen share over to Bill. Take it away. All right, it's coming through for me.
Perfect. Thanks, Jackie. Great stuff. So welcome, everyone. We'll walk through some, as Jackie said, kind of day in the life types of scenarios for sellers in the field. Where we're going to start is wherever we all live and breathe, right? Is through email, right? We go to email first thing in the morning. You pop open your phone, you're checking some emails. If anything has to get replied to quickly, you do it right away. What we'll talk about in adjacent to email is Copilot. So you can see on the right-hand side, we have Copilot, which is Microsoft's entry into the AI world, right? So this is to help sellers and to help everybody who uses Dynamics and Outlook and Teams to make their day easier, quicker, more responsive. So in this case, we've got a couple emails here I'm going to walk through, and then we'll show a little bit of this in Dynamics and Teams as well. But we've got an email from one of our clients here that's saying, you know what, I'd like to get together with our VP of sales and discuss maybe the possibility of a partnership. Now, I can respond back to that, right, by typing out an email, sending it back, but I'm going to let Copilot do it for me. So you can see on the right-hand side, I've got drafts with Copilot. I've got different options I can use here. Now, none of these, reply to an inquiry, make a proposal, or address a concern, really matches what the client is asking for here, right? So I'm going to actually describe the email that I want. So I'm just going to say, suggest a time to meet later this week. So what Copilot is going to do for me as a seller is going to go look at this email, look at this customer record in Dynamics, and gather information from that and come up with a possible response back to me. So you can see back to the customer. Sorry, you can see here that, hi, Jack, thanks for the email. I'd love to meet with you and your VP of sales to discuss potential partnerships. You can see how that is noted, right? So it's picked that up from that email, right? I have a few ideas in mind that I think would that I think could be beneficial for both of us. I'm available to meet this week. I'm particularly interested in discussing the LCD 601 and OC 53, as well as our services. Does Wednesday at 8 o'clock work for you? Now, what the system has done, or what Copilot has done, is the seller has reached out and looked at, okay, who is Jack? Who is Jack tied to? This is in regards to an opportunity we have open with Jack. No, there's a couple things here, right? I've got that partnership, right, that I've identified that, or that they've identified they want to partner with us. So I've actually looked at that from the email and then put it back in the reply. But I've also included some information about the opportunity as well. So we've got an opportunity sitting in Dynamics that is for the LCD 601, the OC 53, and there is some services tied to that opportunity as well. So we're actually responding back to the email and enhancing it based off of the knowledge in the system. So I can come in, just actually copy the content from that email, reply back, go in, paste that back in, and send that email out. Now I can change this, I can enhance, add more personalization to it, add other details if I want to, but this gives me a stepping stone to send that back out to Jack and get that first response back to him quickly. Now, so that's an idea of when I get that email inbound, I want to use Copilot just to respond quickly to it. What if I get an email in regards to a specific opportunity inbound? I've actually detached this one. You can see that all of these emails are currently attached to Dynamics. They're tied to it. I detached this to kind of show you the process of how a seller could attach this email very quickly using Copilot into Dynamics and have that, again, that intelligence and that tracking of that email going forward. So you can see here, I've got those same options within here, but I also have the option to save it in Dynamics. And Copilot is smart enough to know that this email is coming from Jack. We've got some opportunities open with Jack. It's most likely has to do with one of these, and it's correct. This product interest opportunity is the one we actually want to attach it to. Now that email has been saved over into Dynamics, and I continue to work with it. Same idea. We saw this before when we have the Dynamics 365 app in Dynamics in Outlook. I have the ability to move that email over from there as well. Now that email is now getting tracked, okay, within the system, and I have the ability to go through and again track it in Dynamics or do anything else with it as I want. Now that email that's tracked, maybe I want to respond to this as well. So I can go in and maybe click on a make a proposal email. This is more of a sales-oriented email that was sent in by Jack. And it's doing the same thing as we saw before, but it's now making it more sales oriented, right? It's looking at that opportunity and determining what's the best response back for it. So again, it's giving me thank you for the interest in LCD product. Great choice for your company. High quality product offers excellent performance and reliability. All of these different details that are actually tied into Dynamics, right? That exist in Dynamics regarding the product, regarding the pricing, all of that information. Again, I can copy this, reply back, and send it to Jack as well. So you can see that very simply and very quickly as a sales rep, I have the ability to go in, respond to an email back to Jack in this case. Now, the other thing you'll notice within Teams or within Copilot is I actually have that seamless integration into Teams as well. So we've seen already that we're pushing this data back into Dynamics. We're pulling data from Dynamics. We're looking at data from Dynamics from within Outlook. Within Teams, I have the same type of experience. So you can see here, collaborate in Teams. This is actually looking at my Teams environment and determining whether, in this case, Tura is the company name and product interest is the opportunity name. If we've got an actual site within Teams that we can use to collaborate with our other team members as well. Now, this is called Deal Manager. Now, I've set this up already, but if we didn't have any connections in the Teams, you're going to see a little pop-up here that says, do you want to set up a Deal Manager site in Teams for this opportunity or for this email and opportunity? In this case, we do, or we did, and this is it. So I can click on Customers, Product Interest. I'm just going to open this in the web app so you can see it. And this is going to launch me into the Teams experience. Okay, so how, again, myself and my colleagues can begin to collaborate on an actual sales opportunity that, again, was initiated from Dynamics. We've nurtured maybe from Outlook and responded back, and then we've actually initiated a product site or a deal site within Teams to collaborate with my team members on it. So you can see here, we've got a Teams channel, so product interest. I can go back and have conversations back and forth with my team members. It actually sets up an area as well where I can store documents within here too. So I've got a central repository to store all of these documents, whether they be quoting, whether they be brochures, whether they've been inbound documents from the customer. All of that information that actually gets tracked against that opportunity can now be stored in Teams as well, and I can see that collaboration back and forth. As well as we have the actual application, Dynamics, existing in Teams. Now, we did have some of this before, right? When we were in, you could do that collaborate off the toolbar within Dynamics and create that collaboration on that team site. Now it's done automatically for me from within Copilot out of the Outlook experience as well. So you can see this is our dynamic screens we know and love, with all that data available to me again from that Teams experience. And then lastly, we also have that OneNote experience, right? So we have OneNote that exists within this team site. We have OneNote that exists within Dynamics. The consolidation of those right into one central spot for, again, where I can collaborate with other team members in regards to this deal and ongoings of this deal. So let's go back and look at our, I'm going to delete these couple emails out here. Look at Copilot, what other things exist here. Now this is, I initiated this just by this little button up in the toolbar. Okay, so Copilot, I pinned it so it's here all the time. Again, when I first come in, it's going to be minimized. As a salesperson, I'm most likely going to have it pinned here so I can make have relevant details at my fingertips. But I also have all of the Dynamics information available to me too. So you can see we connected this email before to product interest. So as a salesperson, I can quickly look at base details of that opportunity, as well as I can look at the contact, I can look at other opportunities we have open, I can look at account information, as well as if there's any leads tied to this too. Now, again, I can look at this data from a higher level here. I also can go in and maybe I want to go in and look at the actual record itself. And that is going to launch me over into Dynamics. So now we'll talk a little bit of how the experience within Dynamics is changing from the ability to have Copilot available to me from here as well. So when we move over to Dynamics, we can tell this is that normal screen, that form we see in Dynamics that shows me all the information that a seller would want in regards to my opportunity and moving that forward. We've got our process along the top. We've got our demographic information. We even have information in the middle here in regards to a sequence. So if anybody's using sequences in the audience, sequence gives me the ability to go in and kind of charter a path for this opportunity, right? So this can be initiated automatically or it can be initiated by the user themselves or by the seller, but it's walking me through all the different steps that we need to go through. So there's an email that was sent out. We had to do some LinkedIn research. We connected via LinkedIn. Another email was sent out, and now we've got this meeting that's available as the next step in this process. So this can be a sequence that's built, again, within the system. It can bridge out and take different paths depending on how those emails and how those interactions work. Even off of email engagement. So if that email has been opened, I'm going to go down this road. If it hasn't, I can go down a different road. So the ability to go in and track this information quickly and easily, right, for a seller is invaluable to them. I don't have to go in and create all of these activities. The system is actually generating those for me. I can get a quick synopsis of what's been going on, right? We've got different emails, okay, tasks, appointments that have been sent out. We also have a phone call that we had with Jack here in the past, back on the 31st, and I can actually open that in. Now this looks like our typical phone call, right, that we have in Dynamics where we initiate a call outbound or inbound. But what this has tied to it is conversational intelligence, and that's another piece of AI built within the system that allows me to go in and look at that phone call and then gather metrics and action items and sentiment and all of those details from that phone call and pull them out. So as a seller, I can tell how that call went and maybe go back and reference that and create some action items from it. So in this case, we had the call with Jack Johnson. Okay, Jack called into us for it. There were some tags, reschedule, request detected. That was part of the conversation. You can see down at the bottom, this is actually my recording of the call itself, and I can measure the sentiment in the call based on the colors, within it. If I want to go back and listen to that call, I can just hit play here and play that call back and actually listen to it myself. On the right-hand side, I've actually got transcripts. So the transcript in it gives me all the detail that was discussed within that call, okay? You can see anything that's highlighted is actually a keyword that the system has picked up or AI has picked up and has thought is somewhat important. And as outlined, you can see in the bottom within the recording where that was mentioned and maybe what the sentiment was and things like that. Now we do have some tabs along the top here. So again, as a salesperson, I go back and look at this. Now, can you imagine if I was a salesperson and I just got reassigned this deal, how valuable this information could be to me, right? I'm so many times that a salesperson takes over a deal or gets reassigned to a different territory or somebody's left and it lands on their plate, that the ability to go in and measure all of this and gauge what the response is going to be like from the client, gauge the level of interest, gauge the sentiment on that last call, so I can go into the deal with as much information as I have to attack it properly. So in this case, we've got different notes that were tied to it. So I said I'd send an email back to them, talked about a new product line. Now, there is some action items here. I'm going to send that email, and then you can see mentions. And mentions is a combination of keywords that I have set up in the system, as well as mentions that the system is identifying, okay, during that call that it feels that it's important. Now, this will continue to get smarter the more I use it, right? It's going to identify more keywords, things like that. You can add as many different keywords into the system. So a lot of times we see competitors added in there. So if that's brought up during the conversation, if there's any keywords about our products or pricing or anything like that, all of those keywords are tied to it. And then again, any mentions or action items that come out of that. So as a salesperson now, I should have a pretty good understanding of where we are, right? Say I just landed on this. I've now just reviewed a phone call, right? That the last phone call we had with the client. I can see the process we've gone through to this point with them. Maybe the next thing is I got to bring in our partnership manager from our side. So I can maybe come up to Teams, and this is another piece. Now, this has been around for a little bit, but it gives you an ability to, from a salesperson, how I can quickly just connect a chat with maybe our product or our partnership manager. In this case, start that chat and ask David just to look after, hey, I've got a meeting coming up this week. Can you join in? Can you join this partnership meeting later this week? Send that over to David. He gets a synopsis of the actual opportunity I'm talking about. So David himself has the ability to come in here, review this information, maybe look at that phone call, see that email that I responded back to, and get a very good feel of where the customer is at in regards to partnership and any other details that may be part of it. Now, that Teams message is going to get actually copied into the activities. I'm going to have that interaction back with David going forward in regards to, in this case, Tura and the partnership that they're interested in forming with us. So that gives you an idea from a perspective of where we are with the deal. I even have, a proposal meeting that's coming up. I have identified very quickly where that is. Now, if I hit this little icon on the right-hand side, you can see I have Copilot here as well. Okay, so Copilot allows me to, whether it be in sales, whether it be in Outlook, whether it be in dynamic sales, there's also a Copilot for customer service that's going to look at things like your knowledge base and help you solve problems and things like that. There's also one in marketing that allows you to generate email templates, right? So generate verbiage for email templates. The same idea as we saw where it's generated an email for me, it would do it for a marketing journey or a marketing email as well. Now, in this case, we're on an opportunity right now. So if I'm new coming into the deal, or you know what, I just need a refresher, we haven't dealt with these guys in a while, I may want to go in and just bring me up to speed on it. So I can go in, hit the little button down here, and you can see that I've got various options to choose from. So the first one being generate summary. So if I go in, click generate summary, this is actually going to look at this opportunity and come back with some details in it for me. So it's essentially summarizing this deal for me. So you can see Tura, new customer, looking at outfit 2 rooms, multi-products could solve their issues, actively discussing with Jack in regards to those products and services we talked about. where we are in the process. The last contact was with them yesterday where we sent an email. Pretty good summary, right? That allows me to quickly identify where we are in the process, how we've been engaging with them to this point as well. Now, the other thing you can see is I've got to prepare for a meeting here. So you can see up top, I've got a proposal meeting coming. I can go in, click on that prepare for a meeting. It's going to look at the system and any meetings that I have coming up in the next 24 hours. Click on this proposal meeting is the one we want. Click on prepare. And now it's actually, here's some things to consider for that meeting. He wants to introduce Bill to the VP of Sales. VP of Sales is interested in having more discussions on partnership. And Jack is looking forward to meeting Bill. So it's, again, synopsis, does a summary of that meeting, okay? I had very little detail in the meeting, but it'll do a summary of that meeting and kind of round it out for me so I can go into that meeting prepared as well. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you is this also has the ability to get latest news related to an account too. So this will go out and look in the system, look online for you and give you any recent details in regards, in this case, Tura is the name of the company, any details in regards to them, any news releases, press releases, things like that, and then point you in that direction so you can, again, search for it quickly, look for it quickly, and go into that meeting and complete this opportunity well prepared. So as you can see, Copilot allows me to interact within Outlook, allows me to interact within Teams, it allows me to interact within Dynamics, all on the same platform and just seamlessly integrated for me. So it allows me, my colleagues, to close deals faster and more efficiently. Thanks. I'll pass it back to you, Jackie.
Awesome. Let's get my screen back presented. All right. Bill, can you confirm we're seeing the PowerPoint?
I am. I can see demonstration.
Perfect. Okay. So just as a quick recap here, Bill showed a lot. Really great stuff. I think, I can't remember if I mentioned it earlier or not, but something like 66% of sellers' time is monitoring Outlook and monitoring emails. So first of all, putting the tools where they live, which is Outlook, is so critical. But also what Bill showed was meeting follow-up, email generation, responding to 2 emails, preparing for a meeting, roping in somebody else, reading the news, and getting prepared for their day, all within about a 15-minute time. So we've just given back to your sellers so much time. And to be honest, setting this up, even though it's in preview, it's pretty straightforward. Obviously, there's some components of garbage in, garbage out with, you know, anything really AI, but at its core, we're able to give your sellers a lot more time back in their day, which is their most critical asset. So if you'd like to continue this conversation or, you know, connect with me or Bill, please reach out. We would love to help you. We are currently offering a free current state assessment. So as part of that, we would look at your current pipeline health, look at your current opportunity data, basically run a few different KPIs and expose to you some of the gaps in perhaps your usage of your CRM, and really prepare you for when you can start using Copilot and making sure that you have all the right tools in place right now for that transition. So we're running this right now. Please reach out if you have any questions or would like to talk more about this free current state assessment. With that, we will open it up for questions. I think, Mackenzie, you have some stuff as well.
Yeah, thanks for sharing all of that great information. If you have any questions, again, feel free to pop them in the question pane, but we'll go ahead and get started with the few that have already come in so far. Okay, so first one, do some of these features also exist in the marketing space?
Yes, so Bill did mention that very briefly, but I know it was kind of a side note. In the marketing module, when you're creating your email template, very similar user experience where you can ask Copilot to help draft some information, and then you can be the editor and not the author. So yes, that is available as part of the marketing module.
Great. And last one, is Copilot available right now?
I can take that, Jackie. It is available right now. There's some components that are in preview. Okay, so if what you saw today, some of those areas are in preview. You might have noticed it up beside Copilot in the title. But they will be releasing all through the summertime till September, and we'll likely see more after that, right? So this is kind of the first iteration from March till September, but it is available even if you want to have a pre-release look at it. It's available now for you as well.
And I'll
Great.
add in a small note as well on that. As I mentioned, Microsoft is investing a ton into this specific space. So I really believe this is the tip of the iceberg. I think ultimately they're going to come out on top as the ultimate leader in generative AI and all of these different offerings. So like what Bill said, they're going to roll out things all summer long throughout the rest of the year and beyond. So getting kind of that foundational piece will be really important.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much. And thank you to everyone for joining us. Like I mentioned, we'll send out the recording and a few other resources. So we hope to see you at the next webinar. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.